Hey, everybody. I thought it'd be fun to get online and take a look and see what the reviews are for Superman. So the social media embargo ended at 9 o'clock tonight. I figured I'd give it a half an hour to let them fill up, and let's see. Um, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's take a look. I'm really excited. I mean, I remember seeing the original Dick Donner's Superman in the theaters when I was a kid in glorious mono on what was a movie theater screen that was maybe 200 inches. I mean, it was a tiny dollar theater, but man, I loved it. So let's take a look and see what is being said out there. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm over on. Yeah, let's go back. I guess should do a better job and set up. All right. Well, let's take a look and see what Grace Randolph had to say. We're starting at the top. I'm going over to X. She says, "Oh, so Grace says this is the best Superman movie to date. When James Gunn gets out of the way and lets his work speak for itself, it's incredible. It's not perfect, but it's darn close. And it made me a believer in Gunn's DC." Well, that's a hell of a good review from a reviewer who is not afraid to be critical of James Gunn. And from what I've seen uh, different times on her channel. It's actually not made her, at least she doesn't think that she's James Gunn is her biggest fan, which is, I guess that's very possible. She would know better than I would. But hey, she's pretty darn critical, and she likes it. So this is good. I have to say, my expectations are pretty high for this movie. I think that she she's a good start. All right, let's go back. Let's see what else we got here. And again on X. Here we go. Mike Ryan. I absolutely love James Gunn's Superman. Big themes, but it's still pure joy. But still pure joy. It put me in a great mood, which isn't often these days. It's the happiest I've walked out of a theater since Top Gun Maverick. Wow. All right, let's take a look. Sean O'Connell says, I love Superman. Gave me the biggest, goofiest, stupidest, full face grin as I reveled in everything James Gunn staged. Perfect cast and world building. It's unapologetically a comic. It's unapologetically comic booky, which won't work for some. But as far as DC Comics movies go, it's a blister. All right, let's check out another one. Let's see. German Lucier, if I'm pronouncing that right. Superman soars. It's a nonstop joyride packed with humor, action, and emotion. There's spectacle to spare, unbridled optimism, and a goofy unpredictability that ties everything together, even when there are a few minor issues. Okay. We've seen a DC, we've never seen DC like this, and it's great. Nice. I have to say, so far, so good. Sherez, I'm going to these names. Sherez Farougi. Is that a G or is that an A? I'm sorry, Sherez. Far Y. Sherez Far Y. I'm sorry. I apologize. Farik. Sherez Farik. Superman soars in a bold, earnest, and action-packed film. David Cornsweet truly shines and sincere performance. While not without flaws, this is Superman is brimming with heroism and thrills, and it's anchored by an emotional through line that gives it gravitas. Okay. All right. Sherez. Sherez. Pacing is a bit messy. I still think Superman bringing these characters to life and finally capturing what makes Superman special. Ooh, okay. Eric Davis. Ooh, a little more meat on this one. And is the perfect superhero movie and terrific and a for the DC studios, for the new DC studios. It's big, bright, exciting, full of hope, and it never loses its sense of wonder. Watching it felt like ripping open a comic book and feasting on its wild, chaotic imagination. Jumps into the Superman story when he's at his narrative choices like that, which help make this feel unlike any Superman story we've experienced before on the big screen. Gunn goes out of his way to change things up and shake loose our expectations, but it still plays like a classic Superman adventure. It still plays like a classic Superman adventure at the time. Nicholas Holt absolutely crushes as Lex Luthor, and Edie Gathigi very much steals scenes. He's also one of my he also has my favorite line delivery between Clark and Lois that ultimately won me over. And those two have some sizzling chemistry. It's a departure from previous modern era DC movies. It's lighter tonally, but it's still very emotional and timely, and it definitely wears its heart on its cape. The subtle nods to Donner's 78 Super Gunn has become a master at delivering a well-rounded cinematic experience that truly gives you all the feels. And his Superman film, another winner in my book. That's how it's written here. Very much looking forward to what comes next. Look up. DC is back. All right. Brandon Davis says, it's a comic book brought to beautiful live action life, brimming with hope and fulfillment. It actually elicited tears of Superman for everyone. David Cornsweet was born for Superman, and Clark Kent loved it. All right. So far, so good. I haven't seen a bad review. Sean Chandler said, Superman was my most anticipated film of the year, and I left the theater with a smile on my face. It's possibly the most comic booky live action comic book film ever. It fully leans into the wacky sci-fi. If it really feels like a comic book or Justice League Unlimited on screen. Okay, I can live with that. Perry Nemiroff says, Superman made me so damn happy. The movie is loaded with exhilarating action set pieces and but the beating heart of the film is Superman's humanity and is the world a better place. David Corn's infectious determination and warmth to the role that it makes the pursuit all-consuming and impossibly heartening, making that an even more robust aspect of the movie. Gunn and company from exploring the challenges one might encounter when trying to navigate our reality while holding on tight to those core values. All right, Perry Nemiroff. Scott Menzel says James Gunn's Superman feels like he tossed every Superman comic and his entire filmography into a blender and hit puree. Cornsweet's solid, Brosnahan's great, and Holt is doing something. Not exactly sure what. It's a mess narratively and tonally, but hey, at least it's refreshingly fun, entertaining, and not boring. Think of it as James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Think of it as if James Gunn's Suicide Squad in and a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy sprinkled. I, I don't think that's bad at all. Okay. Okay, Scott. The Hollywood Handle says Superman perfectly understands what it means to be human. It's powerful and promising. It's a powerful and promising start to the new DCU. The film moves you by revealing the heart behind the cape. Oh, I like that. David is phenomenal, but a huge highlight is how Nicholas Hoult delivers. Oh, he's also phenomenal. A phenomenal Lex Luthor, cold, charismatic, and menacing. One of the best villains DC has ever brought to the screen. The score and sound design are out of this world. You feel every note, every impact makes you soar inside. Okay. Junior Felix says Superman is a truly cinematic experience. It's the type of film that the world needs right now. It's vibrant, emotional, funny, and just plain terrific. David Cornsweet brings to life a charming, relatable, and stoic Superman, not seen since Reeves. This is the film of the summer. Okay. Chris Killian says Superman is a living, breathing DC comic book come to life, blending James Gunn's trademark quirkiness and the earnestness of Donner films. It's perfectly cast. Cornsweet feels like Superman, peeled off the page, while Nicholas Hoult steals almost every scene he's in. Nice. I gotta say, I'm liking this. Here's a little bit longer one here. Griffin Schiller says, wow, let me take one more swing here. I'm losing my voice. Mm. While it took a minute for me to get in on its wavelengths, there's no denying that James Gunn's Superman will define the icon for a new generation, a proudly punk rock rebuttal of the cultural shift towards cynicism and dehumanization that's incredibly on the pulse, raging with authenticity and sincerity. It lovingly captures the very soul of Big Blue, filtered through the singular lens of James Gunn. For better or for worse, mostly better, this is one of the most handcrafted and authored superhero films I've ever seen. Pulling heavily from All-Star Superman and the animated series, big screen Superman has never felt more vibrant and alive, relatable and human. I fell head over heels for Cornsweet and Brosnahan. Why Holt's Lex is perfect, all capitals, deliciously petty, obsessive, vindictive, and Gunn finally gives Superman and Lex Luthor their long overdue Batman and Joker moment. Walked away instantly wanting more from this world, more of this world, these characters, and the DCU at large. Nice. Okay, let's do a couple more. Here's Peter Howell. Superman, not the superstar to DC. Wait, not the superstar to DC Universe everybody had been hoping for. Oh, James Gunn is brilliant at conjuring spectacle and creating alien realms, not so great at storytelling. David Cornsweet plays a boyishly sweet Superman, constantly getting his ass kicked. He'd be better as the lead in a Dudley Do-Right movie. Oh, God. Rachel Brosnahan makes a spiky Lois Lane. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is more obnoxious than villainous. The real star of the show is the superdog Crypto, who steals every scene he's in. I'd rather see a movie about him. Oh, that's not good. Oh, Peter. That's our first negative review. Matt Neglia. Superman is just as fun, vibrant, and idiosyncratic as James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy films. Yet it captures the empowering and hopeful spirit of the comics. His distinctive style and offbeat humor, along with the crowded cast of characters and narrative bloat, may not be for everyone. Okay. But Gunn was never going to please everyone, no matter what he did, no matter what he did. For me, it mostly works, especially because Gunn shows how deep an understanding of what Superman how deep an understanding he has of what Superman should represent in 2025 while staying true to the character, to what the character has always stood for. David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and Nicholas Hoult all feel perfectly cast as their iconic roles. And yes, Crypto is awesome, but it's Edie Gathegi, I don't know. Let's see, who unexpectedly steals the show as the calm and cool Mr. Terrific. There are moments when this film soars, surprises, stumbles, and falls, but it's consistently energetic, full of promise, and delivers a hero audiences can look up to, relate to, and believe in as DC Studios looks toward the future. Well, okay, like that. Roxy Stryer. Oh, I love Roxy. She's she's one of my favorites in The Real Rejects and Christian Harloff. Um, she says, I wish I could watch Superman on repeat for a week. Way to go, Roxy. They finally gave me the Lois Lane I've been begging for. The world needs this movie, and we can all learn so much from Superman. I laughed. I cried. The DCU has arrived. Nicely done. Nicely done, Roxy. All right. Andrew J. Salazar says, oh, excuse me, it's been a long day. Saving more of my thoughts, but Superman is just fine. Okay. Very ambitious in trying to thrust us into a new universe, but there is simply too much going on in Superman's first solo movie. David and Rachel are amazing, but there's not enough time with them together. Okay. Kind of mixed. And the last one that I've got up here is Daniel Hawat. I don't know. Had an absolute blast with Superman. It's overstuffed and messy, but it's always fun. This is the most comic booky version of Superman we've seen on the big screen, and it pays off. Okay. High energy, very silly, with its heart in the right place. A good time on the big screen. All right. Well, that's the last one up on X. Let's see if any more popped up. Oh, yeah, we got some more. Oh, I missed Courtney Howard. Courtney Howard, Superman absolutely soars, an awesome achievement and hopeful balm, honoring the past iterations, cinema and comics, while cutting its own path. Corn Sweat has that heroic shimmer. Holt is delightfully diabolical, and Brosnahan brims with vim and vigor. Crypto absorbs. Okay. Three more rolled in. David Chen. David Chen says, I had a blast with Superman, a movie that kept introducing new mind-blowing concepts every 10 minutes that restored the heart and humanity back to one of our most beloved comic book characters. The biggest issue feels like the second film in a series. Not sure how general audiences will react. Well, I don't I I don't think you need a lot of setup. People know who Superman is. I mean, good Lord, it's been all over the movies and television since I was a kid. If you don't know who Superman is, you're not going to see this movie. And, if you're wondering who these people are, yeah, I'm sorry. I think the problem with all the setup is it would have bored the majority of fans, right? Because they already know what the setup is. It's like the argument back when Spider-Man came out, you know, um, that movie. We didn't need to see Uncle Ben die or Batman origin. We don't need to keep seeing Batman's origin. This is how Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne died. No, this is how Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne got shot and died in that alley. Um, this is how, Bruce fell down a well and, discovered the bats in the bat cave. Okay. Rachel Rachel Leisman says Superman reminds us that Clark Kent has always been a beacon of hope and goodness that can exist in this world. James Gunn's vision is a comic book brought to life, and it bought a lightness and happiness to one of our most, I think she meant brought. It brought a lightness and happiness to one of the most, oh, excuse me. It brought a lightness and happiness to one of the most beloved heroes around. Okay. Fico Cangiano. Fico, Cangiano. It's Italian. I don't know. Superman is pure comic book fun. It's the best live action iteration of the iconic character and his world to date. Gunn delivers an optimistic modern Superman lifted straight from the comic books. It's full of heart, personality, and wackiness and wonder. And even though it's far from perfect at times, it's my most anticipated film of the year, and it's now my favorite one. See it big and loud, and look up Superman, and look up. Okay. You like that shortening of the look up in the sky? It's a bird in the plane. Just look up. I don't know. It I don't I don't like the ever, truncating of things. Washington Mutual is WAMU, Bank of America is B of A. I don't know. I sound like an old man. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying look up in the sky. Look up. Okay. I'm going to look up. Any more? Oh, pardon me. It's been a long day for me. Okay, 2 more. So I'm gonna end with these 2. Ben Rolfe says Superman was a blast. James Gunn captures the comic book essence of Superman to a T. Corn Sweat is perfectly cast as Gunn's passionate yet cheerful version of Superman slash Clark Kent. Brosnahan stands out. I left wanting more scenes between her and David as they are a perfect pair. Bill Bria. I looked up and Superman completely reinvigorated my love of the superhero genre. Its irreverence, bright colors, kinetic camera work, impeccable casting, bold choices, and tons of heart thrilled and delighted me equally. I didn't just believe he could fly, I felt like I was too. That's a play on words for those of you younger generation. When Christopher Reeve's Superman came out, I think it was on Time Magazine or one of the big publications, Newsweek. They had a picture, the iconic picture of Christopher Reeve, with his fist out flying, maybe his hand behind his back. I don't remember. And it said, "You will believe a man can fly." And I didn't. I didn't when I saw that movie as a kid, but I loved it. I loved it. I liked I liked Zack Snyder's Superman, but it didn't quite feel I felt like I was watching an Elseworlds, an alternate dimension Superman where Superman is mopey, um, says all the right things, but, extremely violent. And I get it. I get it. He was going for this is what would happen if if these beings came to our world and had a fight. People would die. And I get that. But I always felt for me, Superman was about, hope and seeing people die or even the implication that a bunch of people are dying. Cause it's not like you saw people being, blown up with heat vision or knocked out of buildings or whatnot. Still, you knew they were dying, right? Um, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to a more hopeful, not just in words, but in action and deeds, Superman. I really am. All right, let's see if there's any more. But good review of Bill Bria. We're gonna refresh the page. Nope, that's it. All right. So those are some of the early um, social media reviews. The social media embargo lifted at 9 o'clock tonight, Pacific time. So you're going to see more of these come out. A lot more people saw the movie, and I know there's going to be negative reviews. I was hoping we'd get some of those negative reviews that I've been hearing about on a variety of, the pop culture web shows, but not yet. Maybe they're saving it for the full reviews. I know there's gonna be negative reviews, but I honestly thought that based on what I was hearing, it'd be like 60-40. I think there was one negative review in here, and even it was like, "Hey, I enjoyed the hell out of myself." So, what I'm gonna do. So, what do you think about Superman? Has anybody joined, the stream? I'm gonna say no, no, no. Okay, well, there we go. So those are some of the thoughts about Superman, James Gunn's Superman. Those are some of the social media reviews. Overwhelmingly positive. I think the the through criticism or the criticism that ran through a lot of the reviews was that it was just a lot. It's interesting when it comes to movies with a lot. I remember when The Matrix came out, one of the big complaints about that movie, it was very dense plot-wise. I loved it. I like a movie that's not afraid to make me pay attention, right? To make me think. And, I'm okay with a lot of story being packed in, as long as it goes somewhere, as long as it leads somewhere, as long as it ties up, um, I'm okay with that. So if it's really super dense and, not the kind of movie you can follow if you've, done a little bit too much of this or, you're just a little dense yourself, okay, that's fine with me. I think a decently packed movie is a good thing. I mean, I look at, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad that way. That was a movie that had a lot going on, yet I enjoyed every frame. It was good. It was good. And I didn't have any problem following the story. So, I'm okay with that. But the majority of the reviews that I just read, they were excellent. And this excites me. This is good. Now there's a lot of time left. There's a lot more people going to be coming online. There are going to be bad reviews. We've heard about some of them. There's the leaked Daily Beast review that I didn't cover up here because it wasn't on there. But they didn't like it. That's okay. You know, movies, they hit us all differently, and that's just how it is. So I guess what I want to know, and I want you guys to leave in the comments. Obviously, this video is going to be over with, but feel free to leave in the comments what you're hoping to see in this movie, what you're hoping to get. I'm just really looking forward to some hope. So I'm hoping there's some hope because things are feeling kind of grim. And even if they're not feeling grim for you, they're certainly leaning toward the negative. And I think there's nothing wrong with a little escapism and a little enjoyment. And I can't think of a better character and a better vehicle than Superman to provide us all with a little bit of that. I mean, he's Superman for God's sake. So that's it. That's my quick go live video talking a little bit about some of the social media reviews, what people thought of James Gunn's Superman. As of right now, with 20 something reviews up there, positive. Positive. Oh, you know what? Let's let's go check out and see what Rotten Tomatoes says. Although Rotten Tomatoes. Nope, that's a trailer. Okay. Yep, nothing up there on Rotten Tomatoes yet, and that makes sense because, it's coming soon. It's not out yet. Mm-mm-mm. Anybody else wanna see Nobody 2? I am I am curious. I liked the first Nobody movie, and, there's a man who had a heart attack. He put so much effort into it. So, you know what? Bob Odenkirk, I'm glad he got a sequel. I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Superman. So, tell me what you think. Feel free to comment. If you like this video, uh, click on the, like and subscribe. If you don't like the video, tell me why. I really didn't plan this out. Once I found out that the social media embargo was ending at 9 o'clock, I just figured I'd go live and share a little bit about it. I'm excited. I'm excited about the fact that the reviews that I read were overwhelmingly positive. Um, and I can live with the criticisms that I heard. Because I don't know that a movie has a lot going on, is busy, is necessarily a bad thing. Movies don't have to be so super clear, right? As long as as long as they they kind of finish a thought, they finish their thoughts, they start down a path, wrap it up, conclude it, or get rid of it, cut it out, right? And James Gunn is a very competent filmmaker. So I've got a lot of faith that this movie is going to be everything that I expect of it. All right, that's it. Those are some of the early social media reviews from James Gunn's Superman, and overwhelmingly positive. Uh, you know, Let me know what you think. All right, everybody. This is Phil with Geek Omelet saying, take care and bye bye.